Yashodanandana Prachajanarandana Yashodanandana Prachajanarandana Natsira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Huh? Yeah, I did. You sent me a text. You don't remember. I thought you knew everything. Shruti Dhar. I thought you were Shruti Dhar Prabhu. 3, 4, 16. According to you. Yes. 3, 4, 16. I think it's Karmanyani Hashabhavo. Huh? Oh, just now coming? Oh, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Reading today from Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we're going to do the verse 3, 4, 16. I think it goes Karmanyani Hashabhavo Bhavashyate. Durga Shrayo Tari Bhayat Palayanam. Tadatmano Yat Parmada Yutashramaha. Svatman Ratik Hadyati Dirvidham Iha. Karmanyani Hashabhavo Bhavashyate. Durga Shrayotari Bhayat Palayanam. Kalatmano Yat Pramada Yutashrama. Svatman Rati Kidyati Dirvidham Iha. Let's do the verbs. Okay, all together now. Karmani, activities. Adhihasya, one who has no desire. Bhava, birth. Abhavasya, one who is never born. Okay. In shelter. Thereafter. Harirama, have fear of enemies. Alayamana, flee. Kala Atmanaha, he who is the killer of eternal time. Yet that. Pramada Ayuta, in the association of women. Ashramaha, household life. Svantam, oneself. Ratihi, one who enjoys. Kidyati is disturbed. Dihi, intelligence. Vedam, of the learned. Iha, this world. Someone want to, do I read or someone else? Okay, I read. My Lord, even the learned sages become disturbed in their intelligence. From all desires. Also, I'm born. That's right. Household life, surrounded by many women, although you enjoy in yourself. Someone like to read?
Purport. Pure devotees of the Lord are not very much concerned with philosophical speculation in regard to transcendental knowledge of the Lord, nor is it possible to acquire complete knowledge of the Lord. Whatever little knowledge they have about the Lord is sufficient for them because devotees are simply satisfied in hearing and chanting about the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. This gives them all transcendental bliss. But some of the pastimes of the Lord appear contradictory, even to such pure devotees, and thus Uddhava asked the Lord about some of the contradictory incidents in his pastimes. The Lord is described as having nothing to do personally, and it is actually so because even in the creation and subsistence of the material world, the Lord has nothing to do. It seems contradictory. Then to hear that the Lord personally lifts the Govardhan hill for the protection of his unalloyed devotees. The Lord is the supreme Brahmana, the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead appearing like a man. But Uddhava had doubts whether he could have so many transcendental activities. There is no difference between the personality of Godhead and the impersonal Brahman. How then can the Lord have so many things to do, whereas the impersonal Brahman is stated to have nothing to do either materially or spiritually? If the Lord is ever unborn, how then is he born as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki? He is fearful even to Kala, the supreme fear, and yet the Lord is afraid of fighting Jarasandha and takes shelter in a fort. How can one who is full in himself take pleasure in the association of many women? How can he take wives and, just like a householder, take pleasure in the association of family members, children, relatives, and parents? All these apparently contradictory happenings bewilder even the greatest learned scholars, who, thus bewildered, cannot understand whether activity is a fact or whether his activities are only intimidations. Pass.
The solution is that the Lord has nothing to do with anything mundane. All his activities are transcendental. This cannot be understood by the mundane speculators. For the mundane speculators, there is certainly a kind of bewilderment, but for the transcendental devotees, there is nothing astonishing in this. The Brahman conception of the absolute truth is certainly the negation of all mundane activities, but the Par-Brahman conception is full with transcendental activities. One who knows the distinctions between the conception of Brahman and the conception of Supreme Brahman is certainly the real transcendentalist. There is no bewilderment for such transcendentalists. The Lord himself also declares in Bhagavad Gita 10:2, even the great sages and demigods can know hardly anything about my activities and transcendental potencies. The right explanation of the Lord's activities is given by Grandfather Bhishma Dev, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam 1.9.16 as follows.
Ashikar Rajan Uman Veda Vihitam Yad Vidyatashyata Muhayanti Yobi. So, I was having an interesting conversation about belly buttons last night with my wife, and they're a funny thing if you think about it, because basically the reason the belly button is there is because it's the umbilical cord. When you're born, it's cut, and then they like tie it, and it goes into your belly button and heals a certain way. That determines what kind of belly button you have, right? So I was having this conversation with my wife, and you're all like, well, where's this going? And I was like, even Krishna has a belly button. But it's interesting because then we can start talking about how it's interesting how Krishna has a form much like a human, right? And even the demigods are depicted to have like sort of like human-like forms and whatnot. And then she asked me the question, do you think we are influenced by our conception of God based on our own physical image, basically? And it's a good question, actually, because if you look at different cultures around the world, even, like any culture around the world, they have we have some connection with divinity, and their perception of divinity is heavily based on their own experience in life, right? Like there's even this like different creation stories around the world. So one of them, in like I forget the exact story, but basically in South America, there's this creation story of these people, and humans are born from corn. It is corn, but think about it. Corn is the staple food of that country, right? If you go there, there's like anyone from South America, corn is is like tortillas and I know you're from South America. No, I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, corn is very, it's prominent. Yeah, I've been to Mexico several times, and yeah, they have like corn everything practically, and yeah, so it's very interesting how maybe that's just the resource which is so available to them, and it gives them, it's like the foundation of their life, and it's the foundation of their uh, their diet and whatnot, which sustains them. So therefore, they have this story, right? So this is like what scholars who study world religions and whatnot, they look at when they look at like religion. A lot of times they might look at it this way, where it's like, oh, humans in this part of the world, yeah, they have their own made up stories about God because this is like their experience of life, and therefore their imagination comes from their everyday experience, and they create a God, right? And then the God looks, maybe like them, or maybe a little different, or it's some portrayal based on their society, right? And so, is that just so with Krishna, right? Um, that was kind of the question, but yeah, let me ask you, what do you think? Yeah, go ahead.
Super topic. Um, so yeah, I feel like I wondered that when I first came, and Rasika told me that this world is a pale reflection of the spiritual world, and so that helped me rationalize, like, okay, like that's why we have similar features. It's like it just distorted reality.
Yeah, good answer. Our conversation my wife and I's conversation led into talking about how Krishna, his activity is very similar to ours. He even goes to the bathroom, and there's even stories about him going to the bathroom on his devotees' floors for fun, and it's like, from our conception, it's like gross, you know what I mean? But that's like the perfect example of something that we find to be very gross. It's just a preferred reflection of something that the devotees actually find as like relishable. You know what I'm saying? And what's that? What did I say? Oh, cow urine. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good example too. Yeah, it's like normally you wouldn't drink urine, but cow urine has medicinal properties. But yeah, the point is Krishna has similar activities. I mean, let's flip it around. We have similar activities to the spiritual world. It's not the other way around. So we, for example, all the activities that here, right? We experience fear in this world. So if we think, okay, in this world, fear is considered a bad thing in general. Maybe not always, there's healthy fears, right? But in general, it's like, oh, why are you so afraid to go speak in front of a bunch of people? Like, oh, why are you running away? Why, you know what I mean? You get to face your fears, right? But here it says Krishna ran in fear from the enemy and hid inside a fort. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why would he do such a thing? Because we think fear is a bad thing. There, it's part of his pastime. Therefore, it's not a bad thing. It's actually part of the story. It's part of the relishable story of Krishna. So when he runs from the enemy and hides away in a fort, it's not because Krishna is a coward, right? Even in the spiritual world, there's activity. There's they may call Krishna some things like this, but it's not the same as here, because pastimes are a whole other level from a whole other reality than what we experience here. And so when we hear, it's like all these very human, what we would say, very human activities of Krishna, and we think, well, this is like mundane, or maybe super mundane. Like there's Krishna can lift a mountain. Okay, like we've seen some superheroes, do similar things, right? So why is it so special? Like, okay, that's super mundane. No, that's the other way around. It's in the spiritual world, that's an incredible activity, and it's not just him lifting a mountain. It's all about relationships, right? The spiritual world is full of relationships. He lifted that mountain so that everyone could come in and be together, and they had, what was it, a week of festive activities. It was like a big party for all the residents of Vraj to exchange, to have loving exchanges with one another. It's all relationships, even with his enemies. There's a relationship there. Krishna even granted them great benedictions when he killed demons. Of course, it's a little different in this world because there's no demons per se in the spiritual world. But when he comes to this world, they are part of his pastimes. Therefore, it is considered wholly spiritual. So why does Krishna do these things? It's like he could choose to be impersonal Brahman if he wanted to, right? We read here, Krishna doesn't have to do anything. Krishna could just be an impersonal Brahman that just exists, a formless energy which permeates everything and is in within, without of everything, and doesn't have to interfere with anything of this world. Everything just is, right? Everything just is how it's supposed to be, right? Krishna doesn't have to do anything, just impersonal Brahman, right? Why doesn't Krishna do that? Anyone? He could. Yes.
It's not boring. And there's no excitement. Where I think all this is happening to play. Like, what this wants to play.
Has anyone here ever spent long amounts of time in solitary confinement? Is that what it's called? Solitary confinement. Anyone ever spent time alone? Long amounts of time alone? Silent meditation retreat? Anything like that? There's like the Vipassana retreats, right? You've done that, yeah. You spend a lot of time alone, yeah. So there's different kinds of like, you could voluntarily like spend a lot of time alone, right? Retreats and whatnot. Thomas Merton wrote a lot about this. I don't know if you think Sika's very familiar. Thomas Merton has a book literally about solitary being in solitary meditation and living as a hermit. But even Thomas Merton desired communication with the rest of the world. He wrote books, right? So you know what I mean. So we actually, it's very difficult for the jiva to not have relationships, right? It's very difficult. Like, so even us, our little jiva, like, how is it that we even being a small spark of Krishna, we ourselves, even if we're trying to merge into the Brahman or whatever, it's very difficult for one. But it's also like Anthony said, it's boring, right? We actually are meant for relationships on so many levels, spiritual and material. If you study, psychology and whatnot, it probably some time alone is okay, but not too much time alone. People actually can develop depression and whatnot. Yes, Rasika.
So if I can may I speak a little bit on this? Just like a minute.
Oh yeah.
So when I was at the Denver temple the first few years, Tushna Krishna, the temple president, he arranged for me to take a retreat at this Trappist monastery, where all the monks are cloistered, but they had a guest house. I was the only one in this guest house, and it's like 7 days, 7 days, something like that. And I was like, okay, great, this is going to be fantastic. I can go and chant and read, and it'll be so refreshing. And he thought, because of my background as a monk, and I did too, that this was going to be fantastic. So I made it about 2 days. And on the third day, I'm like, okay, no devotees, no deities, I'm out of here. I was going crazy. And I have a background in that kind of meditation, but I just longed to be with the devotees and the deities.
You got that higher taste. Yes. So actually, Prabhupada says actually these things are good, like the solitary meditation one, are good if your activities are bad. It's almost like being in timeout. It's like, no, you should just stop everything and just sit and meditate. It's like, you know what I mean? So it's good. It's better than performing, karmic activities where you're actually causing harm to yourself. Better to like just sit and pray and at least get to that level. And then if they do that, the ones who make advancement will come into contact with devotional service. I have had many friends and who have done just that actually. So yeah, great. Thanks for everyone for sharing. I'm supposed to cover all the verses, and I don't want to get carried away. So let's actually go over all the verses, and then we can come back to talking about them. We start on number 12, I think. 14. 14. Yeah, 14 through 22. All right, let's do it. Just now.
Uddhava said,
O Vidura.
we just go around.
Oh. Wait, can we go back and forth? I'm just kidding. Every 2 words. All right. Okay. Okay. Ready, set, go. Uddhava said, O Vidura, when I was thus favored at every moment by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and addressed by him with great affection, my words failed in tears, and the hairs of my body erupted. After smearing my tears, I, with folded hands, spoke like this.
O my Lord, devotees who engage in my transcendental loving service of your lotus feet have no difficulty in achieving anything within the realm of the 4 principles of religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. But, O Great One, as far as I am concerned, I have preferred only to engage in the loving service of the lotus feet.
The learned sages become disturbed in their intelligence when they see that your greatness engages in fruitive work, although you are free from all desires, that you take birth, although you are unborn, that you flee out of fear of the enemy and take shelter in the fort, although you're the controller of invincible time, and that you enjoy householder life, surrounded by many women, although you enjoy it in yourself.
O my Lord, your eternal self is never divided by the influence of time, and there is no limitation to your perfect knowledge. Thus, you were sufficiently able to consult with yourself, yet you called upon me for consultation, as if bewildered, although you are never bewildered. And this act of yours bewilders me.
My Lord, kindly explain to us, if you think us competent to receive it, that transcendental knowledge which gives enlightenment about yourself, and which you explain before the Brahmaji.
When I thus expressed my heartfelt desires unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lotus-eyed Lord instructed me about his transcendental situation.
I have studied the path of understanding, self-knowledge from my spiritual master, the personality of Godhead, and thus after circumambulating him, I have come to this place very much aggrieved due to separation.
My dear Vidura, now I am mad for want of the pleasure of seeing him, and just to mitigate this, I am now proceeding to Badharikasharma in the Himalayas for association, as I have been instructed by him.
There in Badrik Ashram, the personality of Godhead, in its incarnation as the sages Nara and Narayan, has been undergoing great penance since time immemorial for the welfare of all amenable living entities.
So, even the great devotees of the Lord want to continue to philosophize on the activities of Krishna and to discover more about Krishna. Because it's the activities which are exciting, which are interesting, right? This is how they're able to discuss Bhagavatam nonstop. This is how the devotees of the Lord, like we hear in the Bhagavad Gita, they're constantly engaged in speaking about the Lord. They're enlivened just by conversing about him. They can do it all the time. So here we have Uddhava, who has a body almost exactly like Krishna. And we have Vidura, who is one of the greatest devotees of the Lord. We can read in the Mahabharata all of his incredible, read about his incredible wisdom and his activities that moved the Mahabharata forward, and the relationship he had with Krishna and the Pandavas, who are some of the Lord's greatest devotees. They continue to learn about Krishna. They continue to discover Krishna. It's never that Vidura said, I am self-realized of Krishna, and I'm just going to do my bhajan, not talk with anybody, and just meditate on Krishna. No, he wants to continue to learn. Now he's discussing with Uddhava. Uddhava knew Krishna. Krishna took Krishna would consult with him. Like Uddhava knew better or something. Like, what an incredible personality this must be, right? But he still is bewildered by Krishna. He still wants to discover more about Krishna. He's still learning about Krishna. He never stops. Krishna is unlimited. Krishna is beyond what we can imagine. And as soon as we think we can imagine, we got a hold on Krishna. Krishna switches it up, and then we're bewildered again, just like happened to Brahma. Brahma thought he understood Krishna and thought he could trick Krishna by taking the cowherd boys away, but Krishna totally fooled Brahma, and Krishna totally fooled Shiva, who's Mahadev, the greatest deva, right? And he bewildered Shiva as disguising as the Mahamohini, right? Yeah. Shiva was completely bewildered. He lost all sense. And Krishna can do that. He's beyond anything we can fully imagine. But we can imagine based on what he's revealed to us. Each of us have a personal relationship with Krishna. So even though Krishna is like far beyond anything we can completely understand, Krishna reveals himself to us. We all each have a unique relationship with him and offering to him. And I believe it's the goal of our life to rekindle that relationship with Krishna and offer our talents, our propensities, our hobbies, anything we do, anything we have for Krishna, because he's Rasa Raj, right? Krishna he's the king of all rasa. He experiences all rasas, but yet we all have a very unique flavor, per se, a unique flavor of devotion that he wants to taste, actually. He wants to have that relationship with us more than we can even imagine. We're like down here in the material world, like, totally bewildered. And Krishna's like, hey, little Jiva, I wanna like have this rasa with you. And we're like, oh yeah, I guess like we're like, okay, I'm tired, I'm gonna sleep in today, and you know what I mean? We're just like, yeah, we're in the material situation. Let's just put it that way. It's the slumber, That's why Lord Chaitanya says, Jeev jago, right? Wake up, sleeping soul. You've been sleeping so long. You've been sleeping so long in this lap of Maya. It's time to wake up. And so, it's true. I mean, even after practicing Krishna consciousness for a long time, we could still fall into this lazy pattern because we're conditioned. We're conditioned in the material world. But Krishna is so kind that he actually gives us unlimited chances and unlimited moments to connect with him, even beyond this life. And so that's what's amazing about Krishna, is even though we're such mudhas, we're mandasumanda matayo, right? We're slow in the Kali Yuga age, right? We're slow, we have a hard time understanding. The mind is foggy. We're like Kali Yuga creatures. But Krishna is like, I still love you, and I still want to have a relationship with you. I still want to rekindle that, even though we're like so unqualified. We're like basically we're like the rejects of the spiritual world. That's basically what we are. But Krishna is like, I love the rejects. He loves them so much that, yeah, if you like, if you're like edgy when you're a teenager and like to be part of like the offbeat crowd, hey, we're an offbeat crowd, and Krishna is totally into the offbeat crowd. Krishna is created his own subculture here in the material world. We are actually we're the underground, we're the underground entities. But Krishna loves us, and he wants us to be. He sent Lord Chaitanya to come. Like he came as Lord Chaitanya, as his full self manifested in this material world, to bring all the living entities back to the spiritual world in a very fun way. It's not like hard way, It's actually made it so easy that even if you just chant Hare Krishna, you can come back to the spiritual world and just engage in the Sankirtan movement and eat. Like, come and eat. Like, how hard could it be? You know, like, just come to Krishna house and have breakfast, lunch. You know, just you can literally go back to spiritual world just by eating. Prabhupada said this many times. Just eat your way back. So we're like, well, I don't know, maybe I'll get some pizza. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like, come on, huh? Primer cream? Oh, Krispy Kreme. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not condemning these, but I get shooting anyway. We offer everything the Christian knows. I'm not condemning anyone. I'm not coming in here fire and brimstone. But no, it's like it's just so easy. Just eat prasada. You know, everything, every breath we take, everything we do, offer Krishna. It's so simple, actually. And Krishna does not see our faults. Actually, he just sees the pure living entity right here that we are, and he's just like giving us every opportunity, every moment of the day to connect with him. So even if we mess up or someone gets mad at us, we feel like we're the lowest of the low, which is a good thing actually. But like we can always and we feel unqualified. Like that's no reason not to continue to endeavor to serve Krishna, because Krishna has his door open. You know how, have you ever met someone in life who's like, I always have my door open for you, right? They're like, you can come talk to me anytime. Krishna's like that to the like utmost. He's like that to the utmost level where his door is literally always wide open. There's not even a door. Krishna is like right there in your heart all the time, and he's always available. And he'll never, he'll never. We're never condemned by Krishna, even if we do the worst thing, or we miss chaining our rounds one day. Yeah. Krishna Krishna is ever merciful, actually. So we always have unlimited moments and chances to connect with him. Something to remember that. Always remember that. Yes.
I was actually just thinking and talking last night about how the door of the house of the Lord is never unlocked. That's saying in the Bible. And I parked my car over by a church, and I was walking with Nate, and he said, "Is that church unlocked? Can we go sit in there?" I said, "No, man. The Christian churches, they unlock it for like 2 hours on Sunday, and then they close it up." And I said, when I used to go, I used to tell them, "Can y'all just leave the lights on and leave the door unlocked? I'm going to sleep in here. I want to sleep in the Lord's house." And then eventually I just had to come to Krishna house, and now I sleep here. And the door is always unlocked upstairs.
Oh, don't say that. I'm just kidding. There's a code. There's cameras. Yeah, no. It's always 108. Or Prabhupada's birthday year or something.
Unlock it at 8:30. Anything after that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think Catholic churches are open like more, but yeah, in general speaking, it's nice to see that Krishna has so many activities going on in his temples that you can go. I mean, pretty much any time of the day. I think there's some hours where most temples are closed in the night, but during the day, take darshan. You can come have prasadam several times a day. Yeah, in India, it's even to a more heightened level. Even, I mean, gosh, for others who've been to India, you know, it's like even a whole other level of availability. Any other questions or comments? Govinda.
This point of disqualifications, I have sometimes meditate on this quote I heard. What is greater, our disqualification or Krishna's love? You know, is our disqualification that big that Krishna's love can't overcome it, or mercy?
That's like the perfect thing to remember. Yeah, yeah. Neat.
So thank you for your class. It's been really wonderful so far. I feel like classes always work, or they just like are always on something that's so like relevant to me, and that's just how Krishna goes. Because last night I had a dream where I was in a different timeline, but it was very lucid. I was very awake in it, and I was able to manipulate things, like make them shrink and make them get bigger. And I had this like, yeah, it was kind of like a mystic city or something. And like, but there was just totally different people, and it was like Taylor Swift was Hawaiian, and
It was a
no,
different
it was just like a different
dimension of
timeline.
multiverse.
It was just a different timeline. And then I was talking to someone who's like, I don't know, just had more knowledge, and they're like, yeah, Taylor Swift is in like 80% of the timelines in some variety. That's not important. What was important is I felt
That's like
this
end
is
of
context.
It's just about Taylor Swift.
What's important is that I felt I was like, oh, knew I was like not in my right timeline, and I was like missing my friends. And I'm like, I don't care that I can do these cool things, like, you know, like I just want to be back in my own timeline. And I was like trying to make myself wake up, and I couldn't. And also the verse talks about meeting good and evil like in the material modes, and I felt like I was doing that, but with like spirits and like in my dream, and it was really cool. But the basis was like that, yeah, like I love my life and I love the relationships I have, and I just want to pour more into that because that's really what I value.
Yeah, actually, I find the people that you meet while living at Krishna House. I first lived here like 13 years ago, I think, and the people that I met then, like Shruti, now they've become your lifelong friends. So, yeah, treat everyone well, and you know, value this time because it's the foundation of our spiritual life. Living in the ashram, you know, these people, you know, they may very well be there when you pass away, and I think it's valuable. I mean, think about the opposite. What if you had no friends and you're passing away and no one cared? That'd be horrible. You know what I'm saying? Um, but what if you had friends there chanting for you, being there for you? You know, that's the ideal. We want that. You know, we want people to share loving relationships with, people who are there to support you, good, bad. And I'm telling you, life is full. You know, full of ups and downs. You know, we have. You know, you're in your 20s, maybe. You know, yeah, there's a long way to 100 if you live that long, and there's lots of chapters, many chapters in that life. And so when you make friends and have relationships that help carry you through all those chapters, it's invaluable. It's invaluable. So, yeah.
The second is like being told in my dream how like, that there's infinite timelines and stuff. Um, it just really hones in on like how special everything is. The fact that I'm like here in this timeline with all these jivas specifically, with this infinite number of timelines. It's like it is very divine, and like we can feel like it's mundane sometimes, and like not take it for granted. But even the people you like walk across on a sidewalk is like so significant.
Yeah, think about even the fact that Lord Chaitanya only came 500 years ago. Like, that's nothing. He's like literally just left the room, and we were like, oh, like everyone's still chanting, you know, like, you know, and like someone's like started a kirtan, they maybe have to leave, but the kirtan keeps going. That's like Lord Chaitanya. Basically, he just like had to go on to the next sankirtan spot, you know, and we're still riding that wave, and it keeps getting bigger. Actually, the wave Lord Chaitanya started was like tidal wave, you know. You ever seen a tidal wave? I mean, well, it's the tidal wave really doesn't submerge until it gets closer to the to the to the shore. You know what I'm saying? So at first it's just like a bump in the ocean, then it starts coming to the shore, and then it gets really, really big, really, really big. It just keeps getting bigger, 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 bigger. And that's kind of like Lord Chaitanya started the wave. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, anyone seen a tsunami and lived to tell. No, but the whole idea is like it keeps going, keeps getting bigger, 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 bigger. And Lord Chaitanya said it would engulf the whole world. That tidal wave will affect the whole world in one way or the other, one way or the other. Even other groups of people who are becoming more spiritual and who aren't Hare Krishnas. Like, that's all also part of the golden age. So we can't just think we're super special, where, we are, because we are who we are, and that's our path, right? But other people are experiencing spiritual revolutions too, like other religious groups and whatnot. And Prabhupada said, whatever brings you closer to God is a real religion, and is very important. He was even impressed that the United States had so many churches. He had his criticisms too, but he said it's nice they have churches everywhere. This is the house of God, place where they come and they worship. So even if they only have it open a couple hours a week or whatever, that's something. You know what I mean? So the golden age of Lord Chaitanya has many branches, many branches. And of course, we're very fortunate because we have a lot of information. But there's also very advanced people of other traditions as well. So, yeah, I remember when I was younger in devotional service, I would make more distinctions, But as you get older, I think, and you practice longer, you start to, at least for me, to expand your mentality, expand your vision, and start similarities in different places, and be able to respect people. I mean, I work like in the world, and I have relationships. Like when I was a brahmachari, I think I only knew devotees and my parents. You know what I mean? And then like now I know lots of people, hundreds of people, thousands of people who aren't devotees, but I've met so many wonderful, spiritually empowered people who are not of my same tradition. And you learn how to relate with people, even if you disagree on almost everything, like even on a spiritual level, even in everything. There's a soul in everybody, Krishna's in everybody. So you learn how to like respect people where they are, and just, yeah. Actually, our actions are so powerful. We were talking about this the other day. I was giving class at Bhakti Center online, and we were talking about this, and it's like just us showing a good example affects the world, actually, because they say action is more powerful than words. So actually, people watch. What if someone comes and agitates you? Like, say you're on campus serving Krishna lunch. What if someone agitates you? Actually, you have a great responsibility to handle situations with grace, because even if 10 students see you act poorly and not in, like, kind of, people expect us to be a peaceful people, right? Or like mature spiritualists. We're held to a higher standard in a sense, even subtly. I think it behooves us to treat people with at least good customer service. So yeah, people watch, and the little things matter. Actually, the little things can deter people from, like, if some little thing really bugs someone, they can deter them from coming to Krishna house or having Krishna lunch or wanting to engage in Krishna's service. So we got to fan the spark and not put out the spark. So, okay, I think I'll stop there. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. No breakfast today, I guess. In my honor. For what?
Before everyone leaves, if you have to head out, you get to go. But I just had an announcement. Ria just wanted to talk about her hearing aid. So Ria actually has a hearing aid, and so when you talk to her, be more attentive, speak directly to her. But you can elaborate more on it. Go ahead. Yeah, say a little more on it, or you good? That's it. Yeah, sure. Hey, speak. Micro.
Hi, Krishna. My name is Ria. So, as some of you may already know, my name is Ria, and I thought I may tell you a little bit about my hearing disability since since I'm getting to know everyone. And can you see this diagram here? This is the like a person's head, and this is like the ear. So basically, um, yeah, when I was born profoundly deaf, like in both ears. Like I couldn't hear anything at all. So like there's something in the ear called the cochlear organ. It's like looks like a snail-like shell. And when I was born, like all of the there's like something called little hairs like that help us to hear, and they're called cilia. And they're like go around this snail-like thing, this organ called the cochlea. And so when I was born, like all of it was like completely gone or like damaged. And so like with the cochlear implant surgery, they're like hearing devices that help people to hear. So like I got my surgery at like 2 years of age and then 8 years of age. And that's my left implant at 3 and right implant at 8. And in the surgery, they basically weave an electrical wire to the cochlear organ. And that basically replaced like all the damage or like all the cilia that's like gone. So basically that's how I hear now. And in the organ, there's something called like, well, in the electrical wire that weaves around the organ, it's called like electrodes. And there's like 32 electrodes if I remember right. So like there's like different channels that help people to hear. Yeah, so after getting my left implant at 3 and then my right implant at 8, I had to go to like years of therapy of like speech and language therapy to like get to where I am now today. And oh yeah, I forgot to say that I'm a biomedical engineering major, second year at this University of Florida. And yeah, so basically after the therapy, I've been like mainstreamed into the public schools, and I've been like learning, like I've been communicating verbally with everyone. So like I'm also like trying to learn a bit of ASL, but I didn't really like go down, like I didn't really go that pathway. So because I felt like mainstreaming, well, my parents thought that mainstreaming would, me in the public school would be good for me. And yeah, so that's basically it. Oh yeah, so like when I talk with people, I like to like lip read. So like when I lip read, that's how I speak with people. And yeah, I think, and then a little bit about myself is like basically the cochlear implants that I wear. Like you can see, so this is like the cochlear implant. Like this is called the microphone. There's like 3 parts to it. So like microphone, transmitter, and processor. So like when I hear someone speak, it sends like sounds to my this implant, and then that kind of like acquires the sound, and then the transmitter like transfers it to my brain, and then that's how I receive the sound. So that's the receiver. So it transmits the signals, and then I have to like recognize that the sound is like, if I hear the letter A, then I have to recognize that's the sound A. So yeah, and then when I when I sleep, there's an interesting fact about me that I actually don't hear anything at all. That's because I charge the implants at night. So when I sleep, I just don't hear anything at all, and basically I hear nothing. So like that's my whole life. I hear nothing, and yeah. Oh yeah. So like for cochlear implants, they cost like $30,000 to $50,000 without insurance. But luckily I have insurance, so that's like how much it costs. Does anyone have any questions?
What are some, if you could succinctly point out, what are a few things that will help devotees communicate with you
Oh, yeah.
and you with them? just in brief points.
Oh yeah, so what helps me to like listen to like devotees and everyone is that like if people were to like face in my direction.
Speak in the mic.
Oh yeah. Huh? Oh yeah, if people were to face in my direction, then it helps me a lot because I can like lip read and understand better. And then sometimes if there's like background noise, like I don't know, like music, and then I'm trying to like speak to a person, then it helps me better if there's like less background noise or like in a small, quieter setting. It helps me a lot to like understand them better. And yeah, basically just like face in my direction and want to talk to me. And then yeah, that helps a lot. Does anyone have any questions? Feel free to ask because I don't want to like be 100 years old and then you ask me a question and be like, oh, I can't hear you.
What if you're 108 years old? What if you're 108 years old? That'll be
108?
108. Yeah, it'll be auspicious.
So does anyone have any questions? Please feel free to ask, or you can ask later after.
Thanks, Ray. It's nice to have you here at Krishna. Haribo!
Thank you.
I had to talk to you about I was like, I just couldn't wait to talk to you about that. No, you're not in the timeline. But for some reason, you're one of the people I thought about, like, oh, I have to do that. Yeah, you're still. I'm taking my shoes. No, they went back in. Riding down the bus bridge, yeah. Savior, son of the sound. Hasta creer, master, true. My regular attendance. All the struggles in the heart almost destroyed. And loving transcendental service unto the first body of God established the zero fast. And also, she was proud of only on Thursday. I expected both. Just focus on the. We just send you the. I know. What's gonna happen? Yeah.